Howdy partners! So today I'm going to be talking about my experience as a housekeeper for jewelry hotels. So first of all, these tips are going to be for anyone going into housekeeping as long as it's for a hotel. I have no experience as a housekeeper for a family or nursing home or a hospital or anything like that. I only have experience as a hotel housekeeper, which is probably the most common depending on where you're at. What I want to really stress is that it's a very difficult job. And if maybe you're just watching this video because you're curious, and in that case, then, cool. I like to watch things because I'm curious too. But if you're planning on going into housekeeping or you are in housekeeping, then I think that you'll find these tips really useful. And so I'm going to just get started. It doesn't matter if you work for jewelry or not. If you work for like Marriott or Holiday Inn or wherever, these tips are still going to apply to you. It's just that there might be some minute differences. Like Marriott, Fairfield hotels, the housekeepers aren't required to like fold the toilet paper ends. They're not required to refill soap containers in the showers because instead they give you these little travel size shampoo and conditioners and all that stuff. So there are small differences, but the gist of it is all completely the same. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started now. So I took some notes of things that I wanted to include in the video from my time as a housekeeper, and there are several things that I wrote down that I thought would be really helpful for you guys. All right, so number one, this is a very difficult job. I can't stress that enough. If you're going into housekeeping, whew, my heart is with you. If you're in housekeeping, congratulations, you're surviving and you're doing a fantastic job. I'm sure, I'm proud of you. And what makes it so difficult is that you're expected to do so many things. And, as a hotel guest, you probably have no idea what the housekeepers actually have to do, unless if you used to be a housekeeper or you're just aware of it. But personally, before I became a housekeeper, I had no idea that it was such a stressful job. I mean, the manager told me at the interview, this is a difficult job, blah, blah, blah. I heard people say things, but I didn't really know it was that hard, Maybe that's my fault for not believing everybody, but I guess it's one of those things that you just don't really understand it completely until you've experienced it. But hopefully I can help you get a more thorough understanding of it before you actually start, if that's what you intend on doing. So why it's so exhausting and stressful is because it's physically very grueling. Personally, I don't struggle with remembering things. I'm usually pretty decent with that. So I caught on really fast of like, oh, okay, don't forget when you're in the bathroom that you need to refill all the soaps. You need to clean the bathtub completely. Don't leave any hairs. You need to sweep the floors. You need to use use this kind of soap for the floor, this kind of soap for the shower. Don't forget to fold the toilet paper, clean behind the toilet, clean behind the door, blah, 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 blah. Fold these towels in this area, point it facing this way. Those are the kinds of things you're going to have to do. So make sure that you pay attention to detail. The good thing about housekeeping, though, is that repetition is crucial here. So you're going to be repeating the same exact cycle every single time. So in one 8-hour shift, by the end of your shift, you're going to have, you're not going to really have a routine yet, but it's going to be a lot better than your first hour. So, yeah. This is a really perfect job for perfectionists because this job demands perfection of you because every room you have to do it exactly the same every time, and that might not sound hard, but when you only get 30 minutes per room, it's very difficult considering some rooms are really easy, I'm not gonna lie. There were a few rooms, that I had to clean that honestly probably took like 15 minutes to clean it, but that's because, the guests were kind and they picked up after themselves or they didn't leave a mess. Some rooms, on the other hand, looks like bloody murder, looks like the setting of Carrie or like a New Year's Eve party in 1999. I mean, it's crazy, the things that you will see as a housekeeper. Beyond me that people can actually do those things to a hotel room. So, yeah. Why do you have to be so perfectionistic? Well, the hotel wants you to make the rooms look as nice as humanly possible, but as a housekeeper, you might be like, oh, well, how are they going to know if I did XYZ in every single room? Well, technically they don't, but when you're in your training period, they're going to be checking every single room that you clean. After you get your first 2 weeks, at least with jewelry, you're going to be training, and they probably do this at most hotels, but you're going to be working with an experienced housekeeper. You're basically going to be assisting them in cleaning rooms, and they're going to be testing you. They're going to be looking at what you're doing. They're going to be teaching you, whatever. Then after that, you get your own cart, and then you are on your own. And it's like being thrown to the wolves, honestly. It really is. Thankfully, my coworkers were really helpful, and they were really nice to me. But, you know, you might not be so lucky. I know that I was really lucky to have nice employees to work with. Some people don't have that, and I'm sorry if you have to work with really mean people, but just know that you'll get through it, you know. But anyways, you have to be very perfectionistic, because when you're on your own for a while, and then even if you've been working there for like years, they're still going to check your rooms, just not every time. But when you are starting out, they'll check every single room, and they do this thing called pointing you. So I don't know if they do this with Marriott or Holiday Inn or whatever. I'm sure that they do. I just don't know their system specifically. But for jewelry, at least, you get 5 points for every error. So let's say you're in the bathroom, you cleaned it, and there's a hair on the floor. So that's 5 points. Every mistake is 5 points. If you get 15 points consistently, I don't know what determines consistently, but I would say several times in a row, or, you know, I don't know how they do it really, but if you keep consistently getting 15 or more points, then you get fired. So they are very strict about that, and I mean, you know, I've stayed at a hotel before. It wasn't Drury, but it was a different hotel. I think it was a Fairfield by Marriott, and I saw quite a few hairs on the bathroom floor, and I was just like, you know, if this was a Drury, I know for a fact they would be pointed like so many points for this room, for just the bathroom alone. And I wasn't, you know, complaining or anything like that. I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, they would really get on to us about that. I don't know if they do that here. Maybe it was just a room that wasn't checked, or, you know, they were going too fast, but yeah. Sometimes I just go into a hotel room and I'm like, wow, they would be pointed so bad in here. Anyways, so next thing, you have to be extremely fast. Like I said, you only get 30 minutes to clean a room. If it's a suite, you get 15 more minutes, but that's still only 45 minutes to clean a room that has literally like so much more room in it, and, you know, a couch, and you gotta clean under the cushions, you gotta clean under the couch, you gotta clean the curtains. One thing that I forgot quite often, is that I would get in such a rush, because you have to, that I would forget to take out the air filters in the air conditioner. You don't really, I mean, they didn't really ever tell me to do it, but I know I got pointed for it. So make sure you take those out and vacuum them to get the stuff out. So yeah, you would not believe the things that they expect you to clean in the short amount of time that you have to clean the room. I mean, on God, it's so stupid. Like, they literally get mad at you if there's a hair on the bathroom floor. I get that they want it to be very clean, but when you have an entire room to clean, when you have 14 rooms to clean in an 8-hour shift, and you have to restock your cart, and you have to take all the linens downstairs to laundry, like, oh my God, it's so many, oh my God, yeah. You really build muscles with this job, though. That is one good thing about housekeeping, is that I got some good muscles from it. And you might be like, why would you get muscles from, like, housekeeping? Like, you're literally just making beds. Well, you're doing a lot more than just making beds, my friend. And by the way, making beds actually gets kind of exhausting, because they're these big beds and you have to put 4 different layers of bedding on them. By the way, comforters are rarely ever cleaned. And this is because, honestly, like, it's so much for them to clean the comforters. So, and at least at Drury, there are 2 different sheets that sandwich, like, the comforter in between. So you're not really touching the comforter unless if you take the sheets off. But just know that hotels rarely ever clean the comforters. So, I mean, it's kind of gross, but, you know. Anyways, let's see. Oh. Another thing is, if you're not good at working independently, this job is definitely not for you, because you have to be on your own. You have to be independent. You have to manage your own schedule. You know, they're going to give you a board at the beginning of the day that's going to have all of the room numbers all the rooms you need to go to and clean. But you have to plan accordingly. You know, you have to say, okay, I've got 5 kings to clean, and then, or no, 3 kings and 2 queens to clean in the next several hours, a few hours, and so then you're gonna have to go to the to your cart room, and you're gonna have to get those linens, put them on your cart if they're not there already, and then, you know, it's honestly a lot. It really is. And then at the end of the day, you got to go back to your cart room after you're exhausted from cleaning all day. And then you got to restock your entire cart for the next person in the morning. I don't know if they do that at other places, but you definitely got to do that at Drury. And sometimes the housekeeper the day before doesn't even do it, which is honestly awful, because then you start your shift and you don't even have everything on your cart that you need. And mind you, this is a lot of stuff. You got to go down to laundry, and you got to like refill everything. You got to refill those soap bottles. You got to like carry, I mean, you know, and you have to restock the cart room too. Not even just your cart, but also the cart room. So you have to go down to laundry, and you have to probably push, I would say at least like, oh man, I don't even know how many pounds of linens you got to push, but ooh, it's a workout. That's for sure. I mean, you know, like those hampers, like the yellow hampers that have I can't even think of what the name of them, I don't know. But anyway, you have to push those up, and yeah. One thing that I would definitely say is a perk of this job, though, is the travel discount. That was my main reason for becoming a housekeeper, besides that I needed money. So at all hotels, I know it's all hotels for a fact, but if you work for the hotel, regardless of what position, you'll get a employee discount. So at Drury, at least, you can get basically like $30-$40 rooms instead of like $100 if you have a white card. And so at Drury, you have to ask your manager for the white card and say, hey, I'm going to XYZ this weekend and I'm using the employee rate, so can you give me the card? At Marriott, however, they don't do that. They give you a form. It's an authorization form, and you just print that out every once in a while, like every 3 months. But it's a very amazing discount. That's how I've been able to travel so much and avoid sleeping in my car most of the time, because I use that discount. It's very nice, but you just have to ask yourself, is this job really worth that discount? If that's what you're going into housekeeping for. Okay, so next thing, uniform. So, you do have to have work shoes, non-slip work shoes. I would recommend, they have some at Walmart, but what I'm going to say right now is that if you're planning on keeping this job for a while, those shoes will fall apart within your first 3 months, because you are on your feet all day long. So I would say spend the extra $20 and get some decent work shoes like Skechers or something like that, and save yourself buying a whole nother pair of shoes in like 3 months. So you need that. They need to be black, of course, and you have to wear black pants, scrub pants, or I don't know if they said specifically scrub pants, but I know most of my coworkers wore black scrubs. I know I did, because they're a lot more comfortable than probably any other choice they would give us. And then you also wear a smock that they give you. It's like a scrub top. And yeah, so that's the uniform. I don't really remember if they said tattoos are allowed, because I have a tattoo right here. But I don't think you can have it like on your neck or face. I don't really remember, but yeah. And word of the wise, if you are going into housekeeping, I would definitely say don't wear long sleeves to work, because you will get very, very hot when you're working. So, yeah. Next thing, so for your interview, this is how you're going to get the job, at least at Drury. If you're not going to be working at Drury, you might as well just skip this little tidbit. But so at Drury, you have your first interview, and that is with the head of housekeeping, and she or he, mine was a she, but anyways, so they'll ask you some basic questions like, do you work better alone or independently, blah, 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 why do you think you'd be a good fit for this job, blah, blah, blah. It was about 30 minutes. It was actually kind of a long interview. And so then she was like, okay, we'd like you to come in for a second interview with the managers. So then about a week later, we had a scheduled interview with the general manager. I had a scheduled interview with the general manager, and then she asked me a bunch of different questions, basically the same thing, but just a little bit more. And then after that, I came back in for a drug test, and then I signed a paper. Then they called me back a couple days later and they said, okay, you can come in for onboarding. So then when you come in for onboarding, that's your last step before working. And basically that's where you're filling out all the paperwork. You get your little thick handbook and has these detailed pictures of what your cart looks like and blah, 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 blah. So that's a short little step plan that you have to go through, I guess. I don't know. Another thing is when you're a housekeeper, you will be seen as the bottom of the barrel. And, you know, I really didn't care at all, but some people do. So if you really do care a lot about your image, or you think that, you know, I don't know. But just know that, and know that you're very underappreciated, and that most people don't really know how hard you work for what you do. And, you'll have customers come up to you while you're busy cleaning a room, and they'll ask for, like, you know, 50 loads of towels, and you're like, okay, sure, and then you can't even get to them for like half an hour because you're busy cleaning and you have to get it done, and then they'll be mad. But you don't really have to deal with customers anywhere near as much as in retail or restaurant, you know, anything like that. So if you're not a people person, don't worry, this is a great job for you. So because I know that I definitely liked not having to deal with customers, because I used to work in retail and it was nice to not have to deal with the really rude customers all the time. But I did enjoy talking to people sometimes. It's just, you know, it's a very wide variety of people that you meet. So in a whole day, you're going to be cleaning roughly 14 rooms. Like I said, 30 minutes a pop. And if it's a pet room, you only get 15 minutes extra, and that is not anywhere near enough to clean a pet room. If it's a shaggy dog that sheds everywhere and you gotta spend like 20 minutes vacuuming to get it all up, and yeah, so 30 minutes sounds like a lot, but it isn't, especially when they're very, very, very articulate about where you set the remote, where you do this, and don't forget you have to replace this, 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 and this, and you have to do this every time, and blah, 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 blah. And you also have to tuck the pillows. I had so much trouble tucking pillows because it's honestly a lot harder than it sounds, because what you have to do is you have to put the pillow in the sheet, in the pillowcase, right? And you take one end and you have to like shove it in on the other side, and then you have to like take the side that it's on and then like shove it down in there and then stretch it out. That makes no sense, I know, right? But it's a weird process. And then tucking the ends, the corners of the beds. Ooh, there is a very particular way Drury has their housekeepers fold the corners of the bed. And it's honestly really hard. Until you get it down, it's very hard. I had so much trouble with it because, whew, it's just, you're tucking like 4 layers of linen, like, and you have to get it perfect. And if it doesn't look perfect, then it's not acceptable. So it's hard. Like I said, you don't need people skills or teamwork for this. You're working by yourself. So just know that if that's not your strong suit, that's perfectly fine for this job. There's very little job mobility. So, you know, you get hired as a housekeeper, they're not really expecting you to climb up the ladder and become general manager or anything like that. They just expect you to clean rooms, learn how to do it well, and keep doing that. They really don't expect you to be able to move up anywhere. There's a chance that you might be able to switch to like guest service agent or something like that after a while, or if you can't, if you quit being a housekeeper and they let you do something else, there's a chance they might let you do that. In my experience and from what I've heard other people say, it's very unlikely that you're going to go anywhere else except a housekeeper if that's the job that you get. Another thing, so obviously you're cleaning, so sometimes it can be extremely difficult and very unenjoyable. Sometimes, you know, it's actually kind of nice to clean and it's satisfying to see a dirty room and then clean it, but honestly, I can't even tell you how many times I went home from work and my body was like, oh, I didn't even work there very long. Like, I really didn't work as a housekeeper very long because personally, I'm 17 right now, and when I quit a few months ago, I was 17. I started when I was 17, I quit when I was 17. I was the youngest housekeeper that this hotel had ever had. Probably not definitely not the whole chain itself, but the hotel location that I worked at, I was the youngest one there. And everybody else was like 24, 25 and up. Some of them were like 50 something, but it was really crazy. I had to quit. It's a whole different story why I quit, but it was awful. It was really bad. And I didn't even work there very long, but in my short time of working as a housekeeper, I learned a lot. So hopefully this can help you out. Anyways, so I remember that on my very first day as a housekeeper, I was cleaning this room with my trainer, and it was a keying room, and it had just this awful smell when we walked in. It smelled really, really bad. And when we took the sheets off to strip the bed, because that's usually the first thing that you do, it had this giant urine stain on the bed, like huge, and there were beer cans everywhere, so they were probably having a party or something, but I just remember that was honestly such a pain to clean, and the whole room smelled awful, so we had to get rid of that. And then the bathroom, oh my god, it was a disaster. So that room took probably 50 minutes to clean because it was so bad, and that's with two of us, mind you. So not even to mention that my trainer went like lightning speed because she had been there for a few years, and honestly, I didn't work there very long, but I got to the point where I started to get decently fast at what I was doing, but it's so hard. I can't stress it enough how hard of a job it is. It is physically, it's awful. I remember my first day whenever I walked into the laundry room, because that's where the break room is. It's this tiny, at our location, it was this tiny little part of the laundry room, and honestly, yeah, there were these signs everywhere about, what was it? It was about disability and workers' compensation and things like that in case you get injured, because it's very easy to get injured in this job. Of course, granted, there are some jobs that are a lot easier to get injured than this one, construction or something like that, but this is a very physical job, so yeah. Anyways, also, if you know anybody or you've said the word maid to refer to a housekeeper, please don't use that. It's very demeaning, and it's honestly really awful to call somebody a maid. Just because as a person who used to be a housekeeper, it just makes you sound like a servant, like a peasant. And that's kind of how I felt working as a housekeeper, because that's how you're treated. You're treated like a peasant by the guests, by the uppers, you're just kind of seen as the bottom of the barrel. So if you are going to housekeeping, just know that. And it's really no different if you work at, some retail places or McDonald's or some other fast food. You're kind of treated like a peasant, but especially more so when you're literally on your hands and knees cleaning floors and things like that, and then people see you and they're like, oh, hey, can you get me blah, 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 yeah, bring it to room blah, 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 and they don't treat you with respect or kindness. They just tell you to do it, and then you do it, and that's it. And they're just, I don't know, some guests at this hotel, and all hotels really, just kind of act like they're royalty, and that you need to do it at a second's notice no matter what you're doing. And I was always happy to help people out, but there's a difference between being respectful and treating someone like they're 50 levels below you. So also, people don't really know that you're supposed to tip housekeepers, so sometimes whenever I was working, I'd find a nice $5 or $10 tip. That was always really nice. And what's funny is that the people who always tipped $20, there was only one time that we got tipped $20, but the people who tip $5, people who just tip period, are always the ones who have clean rooms. The ones who leave their rooms an absolute disaster, like the New Year's Eve party in 1999, those rooms, they never leave anything. They just trash it completely. And when I mean trash it, I mean blood in the bathroom, blood on the bed, trash literally everywhere, 10 pizza boxes here, pizza on the floor, ooh, they're just, yeah, it's honestly a lot. Yeah. Next thing is that if a guest forgets something in their room, you take it to lost and found. But if they don't call, at least Jewelry's policy is that if they don't call for their lost item, then I think after 3 months, if they don't call about it, then whoever found it, whoever's room it was in, they get to take it home. So, you know, one housekeeper actually found, I think it was AirPods or something like that, and she got to keep them. And that was good for her. I'm really glad she got to do that. But yeah, so just know that. And yeah. Whew. So like I said, all rooms are different. Some of them are easy, some of them are really, really difficult. The floors should be cleaned by the housekeeper, but you never really know what the previous guest did in that room. So don't ever eat off of the floor or do something really weird like that, because, I mean, you really never know what people did in the room before. And the housekeepers, it really depends on who your housekeeper was, because most housekeepers, if they're being checked, most of the time, then they'll do, you know, really good jobs of, a really good job of cleaning the room up and making it look really nice and sparkly and everything. But some housekeepers are not as diligent and they don't clean as thoroughly, so definitely be aware of that. But if it looks clean, don't be deceived, because sometimes it's not actually clean. You know, if you go in to clean a room, mind you, you only get 30 minutes, so you're in a rush because you have a lot to do. You have to clean literally everything in the room. You gotta vacuum, you gotta sweep, you gotta dust, you gotta clean, you gotta scrub, you gotta like make the bed, you gotta strip the bed, you gotta make the bed, then you gotta wipe down the TV. You have to wipe down literally everything. Everything in the room, you gotta wipe down. Even the thermostat, everything. And no, that's not just because of COVID. That's a thing that was before that. So, but yeah, so just know that when you're a housekeeper, sometimes you just can't get to everything. So if there's a counter that looks clean and it's not stained or anything like that, then maybe you don't wipe it down, or maybe you don't, you know, clean it with the Lysol stuff. So just know that. And another thing, as a guest, never sneak up on a housekeeper, because that's extremely rude. And also, don't ever go in a room that a housekeeper is cleaning, because that is actually terrifying. So please don't do that. And housekeeping is just, it's a horse of another color. So just be prepared. Buck up, that's for sure. Housekeepers also really don't care about how many people you had in your room. All we really care about is just cleaning it and getting it done. And yeah, so if you have like 5 people in your room and you checked in as 2 or 3, they're not gonna care. It's just, please leave your room as clean as you can, because the rooms with a lot of people in it, you can always tell how many people were in a room, because you can just tell. I don't know how to put it. You really just can. And also, you're given a do not disturb sign for a reason. So housekeepers, like I said, you get the board at the beginning of your shift at like 8 a.m. Okay, so I always felt bad knocking on people's doors at like 9 a.m. on Mondays, because I get it, I like to sleep in too. But it's my job your room is on my board, so I have to go to your room and see if knock and see if you're still in there, and if you're not, then I have to clean it. But the thing is that a lot of the rooms, like, it'll say on your board if it's a checkout or if it's an in-house. Checkouts are people who are checking out that day, or they already have, and in-houses are stayovers, so like extended stays. Those are people who are staying there, but you're supposed to come in and, you know, refresh their towels and take out their trash and all that kind of stuff. Those are usually pretty easy rooms, but sometimes they're not. And it's really just because you can't touch their stuff. So you just clean what you can, and you take out the trash, and then you refresh the towels and all that good stuff, and the sheets. Well, the sheets, actually, I don't even think I ever had an in-house that I had to change the sheets, because every time that I had one, they always had stuff on the bed, which means you can't touch it. So yeah. Also, room changes. Those are really rare, but they're extremely easy most of the time, because it's usually if somebody doesn't like the smell of the room or something like that. those you basically just walk in there, see if it's the same, and yeah. If it's like wrecked or something like that, then you have to completely redo the room. But most of the time it's not. Like I said, the smell thing, so yeah. Anyways, the do not disturb sign. So if you don't want a housekeeper to come knock on your door at 9 a.m. on a Monday, please put your sign on the door so they know not to knock on your door. And then when you leave, don't forget to take the sign and put it back inside, so then the housekeeper, when they come to clean your room, they're not going to be knocking 5 times or coming back repeatedly. It helps them out a lot. So please do that. And when you're knocking, if you are going to be a housekeeper, if you're knocking on somebody's door, always knock twice and say housekeeping, you know, don't barge into somebody's room. That's not okay. And plus, if you're a guest and you hear housekeeping, knock, knock, housekeeping, knock, knock, and you don't answer the door, they're going to come inside because they're going to think nobody's in there. If you're half naked or something like that, then that's your own fault for not answering the door. But nobody wants to see that, okay? So anyways, good luck. If you're going to be a housekeeper, good luck. And the first 2 weeks will be the absolute worst. It will be very grueling. Even if you are fit, even if you work out, whatever, I don't care. You're not going to be used to this, so just be prepared for that. And also, I do know for a fact that this applies to all hotels. So the linens, you might think that they wouldn't weigh that much, but they really do when you're carrying like 10 or 12 at the same time. When you're like restocking your car or the cart room. And so the king linens are like rolled up, and so think of them as like a burrito when you're in the cart room or when you're in the laundry room. That way you can see which ones are which. And the queens are always going to look like a taco because they're folded over and they're a lot smaller. So just remember that. And at least for jewelry, I don't know if this is all hotels, but at least for jewelry, the queens have yellow stitching at the bottom and the kings have brown stitching at the bottom. So that might help you out. And like I said, you'll get your board at the beginning of the day. Your training, you'll be following an experienced housekeeper and you'll be working with them on their rooms. Trust me, when you first start, like my housekeeper that I was following around and working with, she would always ask me like, hey, do you want to do beds this time, or do you want to do the bathroom, or do you want to do both? And I'll do this room. You know, she eased me into it, which was nice, but it was still really, really hard. Also, be hydrated. Please eat a good breakfast and drink water on your first day, or really before any shift, because I guarantee you'll probably be working 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, because that's what most housekeepers work. So make sure you actually eat before your shift, because if you don't, you're going to be doing a lot of physical work and you might throw up or fall over or something like that. I almost threw up my first day because I was so exhausted and my body was like so... And I did eat breakfast, but I didn't drink a lot of water. And my first day, I went actually to a gas station after... during my lunch break, and I got a really big thing of water and I drank it all just in the second half of my shift. So definitely bring water to work. You'll need it. So like I said, you know, I don't know how your experienced housekeeper, your trainer will operate, or how, you know, they're going to have you cleaning rooms with them, but likely what they'll be doing is they'll probably have you pick bathroom, or they might assign it to you. I don't really know, but you're going to be doing probably one or the other, bathroom or bed, or, you know, beds or bathroom. And honestly, like when you first start, just doing the bathroom alone, just doing the bed alone is honestly so exhausting, because you're not used to it at all, and it's a lot of work to do when you're just learning how to do it. Even when you know how to do it, it's still a lot of work, but especially when you have to do it all within 30 minutes. So just know that. Now remember, you'll need to have your cart stocked at the beginning of the day. So the person before you, the last shift, should have stocked it, but sometimes they don't do that. And then that puts you behind a good probably 30 minutes. So get to work early if you can, just to make sure that your cart's stocked and everything. Because you will regret it halfway through the day and you're like running out of shampoo or conditioner and you don't have any to replace, or you don't have any extra toilet paper, or you don't have any Kleenex boxes and you need them, or you don't have towels or sheets or whatever. You know, there are a million different things you have on that cart. Your cart is your friend, so treat your friend well and restock your cart. And there's, you know, you're assigned a specific cart, so there's probably going to be like one other housekeeper using your cart, so you'll probably know who it was, but you know, most of the time it's not a problem. Just make sure at the end of your shift that you stock your cart. Be respectful to the person that's working the next day and completely stock your cart. And it is part of your job, so you kind of have to, but like I said, some people slack off. So at the end of the day, you take your cart to the laundry room and actually, at the end of your shift, you'll take your cart back to your cart room. You'll dump all of the linens down the chute and you separate towels and linens, okay? Then when you're done with that, you got to take it all the way down to the laundry room. And then from there, you have to like restock the soaps, restock the toilet paper, the Kleenexes, the rags, the linens. The linens, that's going to be the biggest thing because, whew, girl, let me tell you, like, ooh, and then towels and all that. But what you do is you keep your cart in your cart room. And like if you need, say, like soaps or something like that, then you'll probably just take the bottle down and then just like, you know, replace it. But your cart room, you'll have to take those bungee cart thingies and you'll have to fill it with as many linens as you possibly can, and towels and hand towels and bath mats and everything. And then you take it back up to your cart room and then you restock all over your cart room with all of that stuff. Then you get to go home after you put your cart back in the cart room, and then you clock out and you show them your work board, and then they're like, okay, you're good to go, and then that's it. But sometimes it doesn't work as easily as that, and then you get off at like 6 p.m. and you're exhausted and tired and hungry and your body hurts. So yeah, and you know, this job does have steady pay, but it's not really good pay for the job that it is. I mean, it's a very demanding physically, and it's a very physical job. And the fact that I was making the exact same pay that I made when I worked at Home Depot, so as a cashier. And I mean, I just thought that was really crazy that I made the same amount of money there as I did doing this kind of work. If you ever get any sheets or towels or anything that have like blood stains on them, you have to take that down to laundry like immediately, and you have to take it to biohazard. There's like this little red box that says biohazard on it, and so you just throw that in there and make sure you do that, because otherwise that's like really gross. And oh, one thing that I also wanted to mention is that housekeepers don't have the time to nitpick and count like, okay, this room had 6 towels, but this room had 8. If you take a towel, they're not gonna know. I'm not advising that you take a towel or anything like that, but I'm just saying that I've heard some people say like, oh, they're gonna know and they're gonna charge you $80 if you take a hand towel home. That's not true at all, so don't think that. If you take a pillow, on the other hand, it's really easy to notice when a pillow's gone. But I do know somebody that took a pillow from a hotel and nothing happened to them. But also, one time I remember noticing that the Bible was gone because we're supposed to have a Book of Mormon and a Bible in the drawer in the little end table. And I remember one time that it was gone. Somebody took the Bible, but you don't know if it was there when they checked in or if they took it. So you're just supposed to replace it. That's just what we're told as housekeepers. So just keep that in mind. I want to conclude this by saying that this is a very difficult job. Being a housekeeper is honestly really hard, and because it was so difficult and so physically difficult, it's, you know, that's the thing about me is that, like, personally speaking here, I like a mental challenge. A physical challenge, that's not my strong suit, and I did know before starting this job that it was gonna be physical, but I didn't understand to the extent of how awful it really was gonna be. So when I say that it's a hard job, I mean it, and I'm not trying to deter you from being a housekeeper, but I'm saying that the fact that I got paid the same wage working as a cashier at Home Depot than as what I did as working as a housekeeper from 8 to 5 every day, busting my ass literally on the floor, like on my hands and knees every single day, like cleaning, and just the amount of things you have to do in 30 minutes like the amount of work, the physical work that I had to do, and the pains that I had when I went home, the exhaustion. I felt awful every day when I got home from work. I felt awful, you know? I mean, I thought it was gonna go away, but it really didn't. But you know, you can, if you do start housekeeping, you can always quit if it becomes too much. But I think you'll probably know if it's going to be too much within like your first week. And I do remember my trainer told me that she trained somebody a while back that he got through training, and then on his first day he quit because he was on his own and not working with a trainer anymore. And he said, I don't know how y'all do this. This is just too hard, you know, and he quit. And a lot of people quit. That's the thing, is that they don't have a high, they don't retain most of the people who start working there. And it's not because the management was bad at this hotel or anything like that. The management was fine, you know. It wasn't a hostile work environment or anything like that. It's because anywhere you go, housekeeping is hard. I really sincerely hope, if you're going into housekeeping, that it works out for you. If you had a better experience than me, then that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. If you're going into housekeeping, just keep these things in mind. I believe in you. I think you can do it. I don't personally know you, but I know that if you're determined enough to do something and you can, you know, I really tried to make this job work. Like, I really put in my all with this. You know, I didn't throw in the towel as soon as my first day when I was like, whoa, this is really, really hard. I threw in the towel when I had to because I just couldn't handle it anymore. You know, and the fact that, I mean, I'm 17, you know, this is my senior year, and you know, at the time I was doing online school and online college at the same time, but even so, I mean, my grades kind of dipped a little bit. Well, they did dip for a little bit when I was working because I just had no energy when I got home because I was just so exhausted from work. And yeah, it really made my grades plummet for a little bit. I mean, I'm fine now, but you know, it was really hard to catch up from that. So just know it'll be hard, but you know, if you really want to make it work and you can get through the physical demands of this job, then that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. That I'm genuinely like happy for you. If you can really make this job work, that's awesome. Hats off to you. And I really do wish you the best in your endeavors and all that good stuff and all that jazz, you know. If you're pursuing housekeeping, then I wish you all the best. And even if you're not, I wish you all the best. So I hope you're having a really great day. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Thanks for checking out this video. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, really just anything, if you just want to talk, you know, just leave me a comment. And if you have any video recommendations, let me know, because as of right now, I haven't made that many YouTube videos, but I'm really hoping to make some more videos about travel and art and photography and all that. So I'm excited. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!